NFL, Aaron Rodgers has an offer from the Steelers on the table, but he's yes. Meanwhile, Atlanta has put out feelers to trade Kirk Cousins. Or Jeremy Fowler said that based on conversations he had during last week's NFL meetings, Cousins is, quote, at the very least on the Steelers' radar. He lost his starting job late in 2024. That was to then rookie Michael Penix Jr. Let's bring in former Steeler, our guy, RC. Top of the morning to you, sir. Hey, RC, how we doing?
What's up, man? What's
Good.
up, bro?
How y'all guys doing? I'm gonna be honest, man. I really like the twins on the show with Kendrick because it's like real East Coast with real South. They all was tough guys. Nobody listens to Molly, so it's like everybody's Stephen A on the show. I was really enjoying just sitting back and watching this happen.
RC, really? Like that's where you went? Nobody listens to Molly? Seriously.
No,
Thank
I
you.
mean,
That ringing endorsement.
He did say that on national television. He did say that on national
Thanks,
television.
RC.
He did say that.
Stephen A. No, Stephen A. was legitimately like asking, he had to ask Marcus, are you just going to ignore Molly? Because they were so fired up about the debate and the argument. I mean, I listened to you. I can't control everybody else. Basketball.
I appreciate you.
You did
Doing me a
miss
lot of
one
favors
element.
this morning.
You did miss one element. On first take, I'm not really asking. You know, that's the only thing you got wrong there. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
All right. S.A., I'm going to ask you something right now. Are you good with Cousins as a backup plan to Rodgers as a Steelers fan?
Me? You asking me that,
Yes,
Molly?
Stephen A. Yep. Here we go.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Why the hell would you? I could have sworn you brought Ryan in to ask that question. I don't know why you would ask me that question. You mean
You're a
Kirk Cousins
Steelers
that
fan.
threw nine
Your show.
interceptions and 1 touchdown over the last 5 games? You mean that Kirk Cousins? You're coming off the ACL injury or whatever it was. I mean, I don't have any faith in Kirk Cousins. Hell no. The only thing that I could say positively about Kirk Cousins being a Pittsburgh Steeler is that at least he's won 1 playoff game since 2016. The Steelers have not. That's the only thing that I could say. But in terms of his level of production, compared to what we're seeing from other quarterbacks in this league, compared to the quarterbacks that we know exist in the AFC, from Mahomes to Burrow to Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen, let's not forget C.J. Stroud, let's not forget Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa even. Everywhere you turn, it seems like everybody has a damn quarterback but the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's the only good thing that I could say about it. There's nothing that excites me, that enamors me, that tickles me in any way about Kirk Cousins being a Pittsburgh Steeler. Nothing at all.
Yeah, the drop-off of what this will say about the Pittsburgh Steelers is almost inexplicable. To go from having an opportunity to re-sign Justin Fields, not playing Justin Fields after the start of the season last year, and then ending up in a position where you do nothing this offseason to improve your quarterback room. You go back and get Mason Rudolph, who you've had in the room, who I talk to people in the building, and they say they love Mason. They trust Mason. The locker room loves Mason. I don't care if everybody loves Mason. We could do a reality show. You don't want him as your starting quarterback if you're trying to contend for a Super Bowl. And so now to say that you're waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make a decision on whether or not he'll be your quarterback in 2025 and Kirk Cousins is the backup plan, clearly nobody watched Atlanta play last year. The best thing Atlanta did at the quarterback position was draft Michael Penix Jr. 8th overall to be a backup plan to Kirk Cousins. And this is in no way to cast aspersions on who Kirk Cousins has been throughout his career. But after coming off the Achilles injury, seeing the way he can't move, seeing the way he can't put spin or he can't push the football down the field anymore, he won't be an upgrade over Mason Rudolph. And so to me, it's Aaron Rodgers or bust for this team.
Stephen A.,
I agree.
say what?
I don't have any disagreement. I agree. I don't have any disagreement with that at all. Look, Kirk Cousins has produced during the regular season. Unfortunately, with Kirk Cousins over the years, you found yourself thinking more about his agent than him. You're like, who the hell's representing this guy? Because the guy gets paid. He always managed to get his money. Remember when he had $84 million guaranteed before the market ballooned or what have you? You just found yourself looking at his agent and saying, damn, who's this guy? I might want him to represent me. This brother's something special right here. Whoever the hell this guy is that keeps getting Kirk Cousins his money. But we didn't look at Kirk Cousins' game, particularly in the postseason, and rave about anything. The fact is, really, really nice guy. We saw him walking off the field after the win. You like that? You like that? We saw that kind of bravado. We saw him with the chain on, dancing with the players and all of that stuff when they were winning. We didn't see him doing that the last 5 weeks of that regular season when he nosedived, okay? So it's one of those situations where you look at him and you say, look, he could play, but there's nothing really great about him, and it's far less than great come postseason.
Yeah, I got to hit the top of the hour. All I want to know is when is Aaron Rodgers going to make his decision? Like, how long is he going to hold this organization hostage?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the point I want to get to, though, Molly. Doesn't it feel like we're talking about how far the mighty have fallen? Like, this is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
This is an organization that's only had 3 coaches over the last century. Right? They're the picture of stability. They're the picture of understanding how an organization is supposed to be run. And so to have Aaron Rodgers out here doing podcasts and doing appearances and talking about, no, I won't go to Chicago, or I might be with the team that plays in Chicago, throwing with DK Metcalf. Let's do business as business should be done. And find a person to man that quarterback room and find a way to win.
Yeah. RC, hold that thought. I appreciate
it. Of Shefty trying to take a picture of his own QR code to download his own podcast. It's great.
That's great.
All right, Shefty, 23 different teams start OTAs today. Is there something specific that we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, I think the most interesting storyline going into OTAs, and it will be a storyline throughout the summer, is the quarterback room of the Cleveland Browns. Is there a more interesting topic in the National Football League than who's going to be the starting quarterback in a division going up against Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and maybe Aaron Rodgers? Oh. Well, it could be Shedeur Sanders. It could be Dylan Gabriel. It could be Joe Flacco. It could be Kenny Pickett. We don't think that Deshaun Watson will be recovered from his second torn Achilles injury, though he's been throwing the football and trying to get back. So the Cleveland Browns are in OTAs, and I think this is a chance for them to get a extended look at some of these quarterbacks, see what they could do, see what they think going into the summer break and training camp this summer. But that's going to be something that I think we're all interested in all summer long. There'll be a lot of conversations about what Cleveland's going to do at quarterback.
Shefty, last week this time, we were given last rights to the Tush push. Fast forward to a week later, impassioned plea from Jeffrey Lurie, Jason Kelsey, and others. How did we get to the place where the Tush push is now going to be allowed for 2025?
Well, I think the Eagles made a very persuasive argument, and you needed 24 teams to vote against it, and the league got 22. They fell 2 votes short. So clearly, all the lobbying that the Eagles have been doing for weeks, all the calls that they made individually to general managers and coaches and owners across the league, it carried enough weight on a couple of teams to prevent them from switching. And then I think when you bring in Jason Kelsey and explain the play, and he's explaining that he doesn't believe a player is more at risk, it's more about leverage and getting down, and that there's not an increased risk for injury, I think people heard him, and they were able to do enough, not a lot, but enough to prevent those final 2 teams from switching over. And so the vote came in 22-10, which also happened to be the score that the Eagles beat the Packers in the playoff game this past season.
Come on, Adam.
I mean, you can't make up this stuff. Like, for all those people who say that there are script writers, well, the script writers wrote that up pretty well. Yeah. Like, let's have the Eagles beat the Packers 22-10. We'll have the Packers protest the tush push, and then we'll have the vote tally be 22-10 again in Philadelphia's favor to keep the tush push.
Shefty, we know Troy Vincent and Roger Goodell both are against the tush push. Yeah. So moving forward, is this something that the league owners are going to revisit?
Well, I think let's see how the year goes. I think if there's a single injury on a play like that, I think it'll be on the endangered list. If it goes through the year, there's no injuries, there's no controversies, there's no issues, it'll probably live to see another day. But for right now, it's safe. It's in play for the 25 season. The city of Philadelphia rejoices. It feels like it's been able to keep its adopted son, and it's a part of the game for this season at least.
Adam, you said heading into OTAs that all eyes are going to be on the quarterback situation with Cleveland. Let's stay in that division. Let's stay in the AFC North. What's the latest with Trey Hendrickson and the Cincinnati Bengals? That's been an ongoing drama. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. And
they have not been able to make a whole lot of progress. Now, at some point, I would think that there's going to be a breakthrough, that the two sides will figure out a common ground and reach agreement on a deal. But as is the case in a lot of these situations, a deal gets tougher as time goes on sometimes, because the Bengals told him last year, hey, come in, do what you're supposed to, play well, we'll get this done. Well, he led the league in sacks last year. And rather than address it right away, what happens? Max Crosby becomes the highest paid defensive player in football, only to be beat out by Myles Garrett, who becomes the highest paid defensive player in football. Trey Hendrickson had more sacks than both of those players last year. So certainly Trey Hendrickson has got a lot of leverage and a lot of arguments. Yes, he's older, but Trey Hendrickson is the kind of guy you want in your locker room. He takes care of himself. He is widely respected amongst his teammates. And again, most teams have allocated their salary cap space, so it's hard for a team right now to make a trade like that. Not that it can't